There is government in Ambergris. It comes in two forms: a highly personal relationship between government and its citizens, familiar to those of you living in the United States, and a rather impersonal approach, an approach most familiar to cartographers. Neither approach is entirely satisfactory, and if not for the festival of the freshwater squid, during which anarchic tendencies are worked out in meaningful communication between those with weapons and those without, Ambergris might have long since ceased to exist, let alone produce such a wonderful assortment of artists, writers, and musicians. The people of Ambergris also come in two kinds: the personal and the impersonal. As you walk the streets, you may experience the impersonal in the slight shiver of pain as a shiv enters your side, simultaneously with your purse strings being cut. On the personal side, however, you might wish to further explore the life and career of the odd historian Duncan Shriek. Or perhaps the macabre and brutal life of the composer Voss Bender will capture your imagination. After all, his death launched a war. Or perhaps the life of the genius-level painter Martin Lake, pompous arrogance and all. Although the man could clearly paint. Or you might want to learn more about Ambergris culture generally, a subject that covers a wide range of eccentricities. There's Edgar Spacklenest, who thought alternately that he was a mushroom and then a squid. He died penniless and human. Or you might like to gain an overview of the many writers and creative types from Ambergris's foremost arts journal, Burning Leaves. Spacklenest published there frequently. The story behind the font first used for Burning Leaves strikes me as instructive as to Ambergrisian culture, and I quote, Bookman Old Style, used in The Hours After Death and all other body text in the arts journal Burning Leaves, has a bouquet of dates, figs, herbs, yellow squash, plums, and blackberries. It can be pleasantly earthy, both rich and mellow, with a hint of entangling vines. It is worth noting, however, that this font was not the first choice for the body text of Burning Leaves. The first 3 issues of the magazine were set in Porphyl Erogenous, a font developed by the eccentric inventor Porphyl. The editors were at first ecstatic to have found a font as decadent as the material they planned to print. In Porphyl Erogenous, tiny nude figures form the letters. Some letters, such as capital H, M, and O, are pornographic, while others, like lowercase t, r, and I, are merely erotic, until set in combination with one another, whereupon certain words create depictions of graphic sexual acts. As a result, the editors soon found that readers ignored the stories, instead fixating on individual letters or words, often with a magnifying glass and a handkerchief on hand, presumably to wipe the sweat from their brows. Circulation swelled. Shaken by the reaction, the editorial board settled on Bookman Old Style as a replacement. Today, Porphyl Erogenous is used for little other than posters that advertise squid clubs and houses of ill repute. The font has a bouquet of honey poured over firm, fresh peaches, cucumbers, ripe melons, and asparagus tips, with a hint of creamy oak. What the font lacks in backbone, it makes up for in flexibility. Beyond this, there is not much more I can tell you. You will have to find out more about contemporary Ambergris on your own. As for the future of Ambergris, who can say? It may disappear entirely, or reimagine itself in ways we cannot pretend to predict. Perhaps these words from one of the few men to go underground in Ambergris and survive give some hint as to that future. They wheeled me into a steel chamber, and suddenly a window appeared in the side of the wall, and I saw before me a vision of the city that frightened me more than anything I have yet seen below ground. As I watched, the city grew from just the docks, built by my poor lost captain, to such immense structures that half the sky was blotted out by them, and the sky itself fluxed light, dark, and light again in rapid succession, clouds moving across it in a flurry. I saw a great palace erected in a few minutes. I saw carts that moved without horses. I saw battles fought in the city and without. And in the end I saw the river flood the streets, and the grey caps came out once again into the light and rebuilt their own old city, and everything was as before. In closing, let me draw your attention to books about the city, conveniently provided in multiple languages. I give you this information mostly for your safety. As the divide between our world and Ambergris blurs and then disintegrates, you may find these books are essential to your very survival. I hope, therefore, that you have paid attention during this brief tour of the mystery that is Ambergris. Boogity boogity boo.